What's up? A to Z Sports live on a Monday, and another Monday loss, a losing effort for the Titans as they drop to 2-8 on the season, and they move up one spot in the NFL draft order to second overall pick behind the Jags. But this loss feels a lot different than the ones before because Will Levis played pretty damn good. The Minnesota Vikings got a lot of help from the officials, it feels like, as that game 23-13 was the final score, and the game was covered in shameful NFL officiating with zero accountability. That is a company line from Zach and I this morning, and we're here to discuss all of that with what happened with the officials. It's the talk of the Nashville media this morning and last night. Easton and I had a very spirited halftime and post-game show because of this officiating. So, Zach, we're going to dive into all of these bad calls and incorrect calls and some lying maybe from Clete Blakeman, the NFL head ref, in the post-game presser with the pool reporter. And then it's the age game. We'll see if I can get one over on you again for the age game.
You can't start bragging until I go 0 for 30 at least.
I've got to get to 0-4 to get to 0-30. Right? You know, win one game. I got to go 1-0 or have you go 0-1 every week for me to at least have something here. So welcome in, everybody. Zach, welcome in. Hope you had a good weekend. And we're going to get this thing off and rolling.
Yeah, a lot to unpack, and excited to hear a little bit of the reaction from the chat on this Monday morning now that we've had a little bit of time to diagnose everything that occurred in yesterday's Titans loss to the Vikings at home. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We got you locked in and covered right there. We will tweet out segment by segment, link by link, on our Twitter handle at A to Z Sports, our YouTube link, so you can get in and get into the action with every show in the morning and in prime time and everything in between, including press conference videos, YouTube community. We'll tweet out all of that, which is a great way to interact with other Titans fans and get involved. So if you are on YouTube, make sure you do one of 3 things, if not all 3. Subscribe, go on and search A to Z Sports Nashville, hit the subscribe button. Like this show, that helps the algorithm and get more fans involved in our morning live stream shows and primetime shows. And ring the bell, get live alerts when we go live. So it's a lot easier on you. Just get a notification on your phone and you can interact with us on YouTube. Facebook, what's going on? Facebookers, bottom left corner of your screen. Share now to public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. So share the show around. We need to pop up in your Facebook friends news feed, which means you guys share the show and we get more people involved. So a lot to get to on this Monday morning. Titans fall to Vikings and the reasons why and everything in between. So let's do this.
Let's do it officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors. They make it happen for us, and they help out all of you. Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. In Lebanon, WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. They are the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. FBHP.com/ATOZ is the website for a quote on your health coverage. And TDOT, join the solution to help end littering across Tennessee by visiting TDOT's campaign at NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. So, Zach, 23-13, Titans lose. The Vikings get a lot of touchdowns after second life was given with a penalty call on 3 defensive stops on third down, 3 different defensive penalties on the Titans. The Titans get a touchdown wiped off the board themselves with a Calvin Ridley touchdown. And hey, NWI caught a 98-yard touchdown pass from Will Levis yesterday. How about that? There was a lot of craziness in that game, but we are here on a Monday morning, and we spent about an hour yesterday in the postgame show talking about the refs. And so I watched 2 football games this weekend from start to finish in their full entirety. I watched a bunch of other bits and pieces, but I watched that Titans-Vikings game, and I watched Tennessee-Georgia. And I have a bad taste in my mouth this morning because officials were very sketchy in both. But yesterday, Titans Vikings, by far the sketchiest game I've seen refed this entire season.
All right, first, I'm going to start this because comments are going on fire. We are going to talk about what we discussed last Monday on the conspiracy theorists in this chat thinking that the NFL is got it out for the Titans. Well, we will talk about that because my opinion hasn't drastically changed just because of yesterday. A brand new ref crew, right? Officiating crew.
Well, not last week's crew. A different crew from week to week, but not brand
That's
new.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right? So look, we'll get to that. What was your one word?
Cheated, because I felt cheated. I went super personal. I felt cheated in that game because I felt cheated from watching Brian Callahan, Will Levis, the coaching staff, the players, the roster, everybody try to go out there and win a winnable game in a high leverage situation in the second half. We didn't get that. We got the Titans down by 2 scores in that for the majority of that second half after the NWI touchdown. And I felt cheated.
I think that
I felt cheated from a viewer experience and an analysis experience.
Yeah. So I also want to state that was one of, I've watched a lot of football games in my life. So I'll say one of the most poorly officiated game I've ever seen. And across the board. Now, unfortunately, the big calls cost the Titans, but it was very, very bad. And I think in an era, Austin, where we have some checks and balances in place to help refs, because we all know refs are human, right?
Yep.
But the checks and balances were not used, or there's like a loophole. Well, you can't really do anything about that. That is what it is. Talk about the illegal formation calls. I think that their action reaction to that, and refs are human. We have to remind ourselves, right? Because they will make mistakes. You try to minimize those mistakes, but you felt cheated. I was exhausted. That is my one word. I was exhausted. It was a roller coaster of emotions of, is this going to be a really tight, close game between a much better team and a team that is just fighting for a win at home? Or is it more of what we saw, which it started to spread further and further and further away because of the impact of these bad calls?
Yeah.
I will also be the first one to say these are bad calls. These are incorrect calls, and they are justified within the confines of the rule book and the game. So the refs get covered. And, Brian Callahan, I also want to send, and we'll hear from him shortly in his post-game press conference. I want to send a golf clap to Brian Callahan, because sometimes coaches get wild and they cost themselves the game, right? And that moment, and he talks about it, right, is he got – I would have handled it. I mean, I probably would have gotten kicked out, to be honest. I would have I would have lit the thing on fire.
Get kicked out. See what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fine, new coach. If Brian Callahan had probably about, $20 more million in the bank, I think he does get kicked out. But at that moment, that was smart because he didn't really cost his team anything. You see, sometimes you get coach gets teed up in a basketball game, and the basketball game goes from a 2-point game to a 5-point game, and they lose because there's not enough possession. Brian Callahan had every reason. I would have started throwing. I would start throwing stuff on the field. It was that atrocious.
You'd go full SEC fan.
I would have gone full Bobby Knight. I would have thrown my headset, and I would have said the refs got to pick it up. Nobody from our coaching staff is touching. No equipment manager is touching my headset. I'm going to make the head umpire pick my, and I'm trying not to cuss, pick my stuff up and hand it back to me. So he's got to do his work because he's obviously not doing it on the field. So I applaud Brian Callahan for the way he acted, honestly, in getting that, because everybody at home. So, I go back to my word. That was just one of many things that I was draining, emotionally draining. The Calvin Ridley dime that is just caught, the celebration, and then, well, illegal formation, not going to count. Now, the illegal formation is a unique situation, right, Austin? Because if you do remember the first Monday Night Football game of the season, Ravens and Chiefs, or it was first Thursday night, first game of the season, right? Do you remember how many illegal formations they called on the Ravens tackle? I want to say it was 4 to 5.
It was enough. And here's the crazy thing. It was enough times called on the Ravens tackle for Easton to ask Brian Callahan the next day and for him to go around the Titans locker room and talk to offensive linemen about it to write an article. It was enough for that to be prompted.
So we cannot, I'm not, that's a rule that they have taken more serious this year than ever before, right?
Emphasis for sure.
But we got to know the ins and outs of what was said and how it was told, who was informed, how it was informed, because that is subjective, right? Like that call completely is subjective to what the ref said. Yeah. So all said and done, the Titans lose, and they lost pretty good, right? Like it got to a point where they were not going to come back. It got to a point where Will Levis threw his interception just because he's trying to do something, right?
Yes.
I was exhausted after that game. I'll be honest. The second slate, the Chiefs-Bills game was great, but I was so emotionally drained from the Titans-Vikings game. I didn't have my same vigor that I did watching the afternoon games. Austin, I went to sleep at 9. I usually watch every Sunday Night Football game. I am from noon till my eyes close at midnight or whenever on Sundays. I fell asleep at 9:30, halftime of the Bengals-Chargers game, because I was exhausted. So that was my one word. And the refs, the Titans, and the Vikings, and everybody in between did that to me.
Well, you missed a fantastic man, that's brutal. All right, let's hear from Brian Callahan, because there's a lot of tangential branches that we will take on this conversation tree here. Here's Brian Callahan to start off the questioning about the game yesterday in his press conference.
What were your thoughts on the call to Brown there, and what feedback did you get from the official in that situation?
On which one? On the fourth down?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. So.
What did you see? Saw the replay of it.
On the play? I saw a hit that was leveled with the shoulder pads to the body. That's what I saw.
How do you keep guys from getting frustrated when dealing with some of that today? You had a touchdown there, then you had another one.
They have every right to be frustrated, and they should be. It is what it is. I think those guys played hard. They fought. They fought the entire game. And kept trying to climb back into it and make plays, and we made quite a few, and it was really a lot of encouraging things about it, and we just didn't have enough to overcome it and find a way to get in the end zone, another time or two. So I'm disappointed about that part.
You expressed your feelings. There were 3 illegal formations called. In that situation with Isaiah Prince, aren't there supposed to be warnings first and then it's called, or how does that work?
I don't know. You guys can ask him. I don't know.
Did you try to correct something with him after the first?
Yeah, I sure did.
And do you feel like he responded to what you asked him to do?
I would hope so.
When you engaged with the officials so harshly after the end zone call, was there dialogue there? Were they not answering it? The crowd certainly seemed to like what you were doing.
Yeah, no, they get in those moments and they just let you yell at them, and they don't really say much. So. At that point, the call had already been made. We already had a first down, so I figured I'd let them hear it. It wasn't going to cost me anything at that point.
That was they're talking about the Mike Brown unnecessary roughness penalty that we'll talk about a lot throughout the day. That came at the end of a 16-play, 89-yard drive that lasted 8 minutes and 7 seconds off the clock. And that happened towards the end of the first quarter, all the way to the middle of the second quarter, that put the Minnesota Vikings up 13-3 in this game. They missed the extra point there, but it put the Vikings up 13-3. So Brian Callahan said that the penalty did not cost him anything, right? Because it was the penalty in the end zone, put it on first and goal at the 1. Callahan blows up, gets a personal foul on the sideline. So you go from the 1 yard line to the half yard line, normally a 15-yard penalty, but it costs him a half yard. Who gives a damn, right? What else were you going to add there, Zach?
I was going to say, I also want to give a golf clap to Brian Callahan for how he handled post-game press conference.
Yes.
Because you go AWOL on the field when it only costs you half a yard. You don't go AWOL after the game in the press conference where it costs you $100,000. Because if he would have said all the stuff he said on the field in the press conference, probably would have cost him $100,000. So there is that, and that's he's growing up quick as a head coach because he's experienced a lot of highs and more lows this season as being a head coach, whether it's refs, losing, quarterbacks, offensive line, penalties, whatever. So a lot there for Brian Callahan to unpack in his own mind after that game.
For sure. So throughout that clip, we heard a lot about the unnecessary roughness and the Brian Callahan blow up. Then we heard the Teron ask about the 3 illegal formation penalties on right tackle, part-time right tackle Isaiah Prince that happened throughout the game. So I want to give some extra context on this because I think, and this is me playing detective here, right? So I'm going to tell you what I believe happened throughout that game here in a second and add some extra context on the fact that I actually do think Brian Callahan hurt his team in a very unfair, petty way yesterday. But first, I'm going to tell you guys all about our great friends at the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who you can trust. Not the officials right now, but you can absolutely trust our friends at the Bone and Joint Institute. They have all the experts and the resources at the Bone and Joint Institute. Last week, our Vikings writer was going to do an article about J.J. McCarthy's follow-up surgery. So we sent some emails, try to get a knee surgeon to jump on and talk about it. I got the knee surgeon to call me directly to my cell phone, talked about that, handed it off to our Vikings guy, Tyler, and he got the great information he needed because that's the type of people that we're working with the Bone and Joint Institute. Whenever it's affecting a quarterback or a player across the NFL or maybe somebody across Middle Tennessee, the Bone and Joint Institute, happy to jump in and help. So book an appointment when you need them online, boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app today in your Apple or Android app store. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports, all one word, no spaces. For new users, make sure you use that promo code when you sign up. They're the sportsbook born in Vegas, but they are in Tennessee. You got tons of ways to win between the NBA, college football, and the NFL. Got Monday Night Football tonight, Texans, Cowboys. So you can pick who do you think is going to win that game? We shall find out. But BetMGM affords you the ability to bet right there.
All right. So, Zach, Brian Callahan said, I didn't think I was going to hurt myself with that penalty, right? And, the refs let you yell at them at situations like that. And you mentioned the refs are human, right? They make mistakes. The refs are also human and hold grudges and become petty. Petty is what NFL refs were yesterday, in my opinion. This is me playing detective, and I'm also hearing this from Ramon Foster this morning on 104.5 The Zone, who is the Titans radio sideline reporter who is on the sideline throughout the game, hearing and watching some of these exchanges. So Brian Callahan blows up at the ref, right? Rightly so. It was a bad call. We'll talk about what Clete Blakeman said after the game about the unnecessary roughness call on Mike Brown in the end zone. They gifted the Vikings 7 points because that was a 4th down play. It would have been Titans ball if that wasn't the call. After that, there was 1 illegal formation called on Isaiah Prince, the right tackle. Ramon Foster this morning said that Bill Callahan and the side judge had an exchange, some type of, we'll just call it a conversation, because that's what Ramon called it. And then once that happened, 2 more began to be called on Isaiah Prince, one of which wiped off a 51-yard touchdown to Calvin Ridley. The other wiped off like a 22, 23-yard gain on a big play to NWI late in that game as the Titans were still had time to go down there and score a touchdown or kick a field goal to make it interesting. That's a lot of points and yards wiped off of the game's stats there. I think the officials did start looking deeper for ways to penalize the Titans and were being petty, because that Isaiah Prince illegal formation penalty is 1,000% subjective. And Brian Callahan said, you get it called once, you tell him to scoot up. I thought he scooted up. They showed the replays, and I saw that J.C. Latham and Isaiah Prince's feet were the exact same spot. They were right there level with each other. I don't think he was too far back. I thought it was a petty subjective call that is not the intent of the rule. The intent of the rule is to not allow a tackle to get so far back to gain an advantage on the edge rusher. It's a good rule. It needs to happen. But I don't think they called those penalties, at least the second two, with the intent of the rule in mind. That was being petty. It was, I think the refs got their feelings hurt because it's the side judge that called them. Who is Brian Callahan chewing out after all those penalties? The side judge. That's right. And then Bill Callahan had the conversation there with the side judge. I think the Brian Callahan blow up did come back to hurt the Titans later on in that game. That's just me playing detective work and also listening to Ramon. And I trust Ramon. And I texted Ramon to clarify. I said, did you just say this? He said, yes.
Look, humans are humans, right? And when they
Humans
make
are petty.
and if somebody's dog cussing you all game, that's probably why I wouldn't be a good coach. Vendettas, right? You hear that about, you remember the old Chris Paul, and I can't remember what ref it was, but Chris Paul was like 1 in, I want to say like 28 when he, right? Like there, I mean, that is the thing. Now we'll get into like the conspiracy. Do the refs in the league have it out for the Titans, which I disagree with, but within the course of the football game, I don't know what was said between those two refs. I didn't agree with the call based on what you said of where the feet were lined up. And I do think that the refs got a lot of words in their ears, probably more than they ever have, to be honest. I mean, because there were so many stackable calls.
Yeah. By the way, Scott Foster, Chris Paul in playoff games. We're talking about playoffs. You kidding me? Chris Paul lost 17 out of 20 playoff games that were officiated by Scott Foster, including a 13-game losing streak in the playoffs. That's a series. That's crazy. So,
I don't think that that's a wild thing to say, because it probably does align. But the calls were bad, and then they kept getting worse and worse. And here's the problem, and it goes back to what I mentioned earlier, Austin. It is the Vikings are so much of a better football team than the Titans are. But in this league, at any given Sunday, a bad team can beat a good team. The Jags can't beat the Lions. That can't happen. But in this situation where the Titans had home field advantage on Sunday, they were scratching and clawing and trying to make plays to make it a one-possession game. So Will Levis would have a chance at the end of the game to lead his team down to win or tie, right? That's all you're trying to do, because that happens a lot in the NFL. And the refs, I did feel like, based on their calls that I disagreed with, that a lot of people disagreed with, prevented that.
Yeah, the referees called 3 penalties against the Vikings for 35 yards. The Titans were called for 13 total penalties, 91 penalty yards. And I think the interesting thing is the yards don't really show the impact, right? Because 2 of those 13 penalties were like 1 yard penalties that would have been a total
points. 1 yard, but 7 points.
Yeah. And so, all right, let's hear from Jeffrey Simmons, because he was also feeling a certain way about the officials after the game. once we hear from Jeffrey Simmons, we're going to have a big conversation about this game. I've got more stats. I've got more things to back up an opinion that I have about this game. But here is Jeff when asked about the officiating in yesterday's game, and really something that you can tell by Jeff's reactions and what he says has been going on for a lot of this season.
All right. Think about what I want to say here because we know how the NFL is, but at the end of the day, we got to keep playing. It's hard when you're getting calls like that. Do we agree on a lot of them? No, but cut my words out because can't comment on officiating. We know how that is, but you know how the NFL get when you talk about officiating. But at the end of the day, everybody got to be held accountable. I mean, maybe some of them, but a lot of them calls in that game, you know, we disagree on it. But at the end of the day, I feel like we still had a chance in that game. Well, I think they only got a field goal in the second half. Like, you know, we came out as a defense, like, we're going to keep playing. You know, it's hard. It's hard when you getting them type of calls, when you're making plays, you're getting ready to get off the field on third down, whatever it may be, and we get a penalty. Like, and some of them were late. It's like we coming off the field, getting ready to, I'm celebrating, and here come a flag. So it's like things like that, man, is out of our control. Shit, I think we cursed when it come down to officiating right now. So that's just my opinion on that. Like I said, we can't speak too much on it because we know NFL waiting to find us for that. So.
Yeah, the NFL fines official or players and coaches for talking about officials.
Which we agree with, right? Like, you can't open that door. The league has got to protect the officials.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the league has got to hold the officials accountable.
Right. So here's what I want to say. Because on the whole accountability, because Big Jeff says everybody has to be held accountable. And he's talking about players have to be held accountable. Coaches do, and we all do that. The refs need to be held accountable. Because Brian Callahan has already gotten a fat fine this year a couple weeks ago. Because he came out and said, after all the times that we have been torching special teams coach Colt Anderson, who didn't have a bad day yesterday, but torching that guy for illegal formation penalties on kickoffs, the NFL has sent 2 letters to the Titans, and Brian Callahan told us this, that they made the wrong call twice on 2 of the 3 illegal formation penalties that the Titans were called against. Our bad. Sorry, it shouldn't have been called. We'll tell them not to do that next time. Twice. How about this for accountability? If the NFL is going to make the fines that players and coaches have public, like they do on Saturday afternoon, they make those public, then make the apology letters to the teams also public for the referees making the bad calls. Because Brian Callahan got fined for that. Because he's not allowed to do that. But that's what happened. So if you want to truly be accountable, own up to your stuff, NFL. Like, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, but I think here's the hard part.
Guys make mistakes. It's okay.
And
own
every
up to
sport,
it, not hide behind it.
We're about to ask, I think, a very important question.
Yeah.
But every sport has got to protect its sport from, and I will call from the conspiracy theorists, right? Like, you have to. You cannot give them bait. You can't give them fuel. Because if you continue to do that, Austin, we know what society is. There will be crazies out there that will send death threats and show up at refs' houses and do they have to protect the refs. Now, the refs have got to be better, and they've got to own up to their mistakes when they call them. I will sit there and I will defend the refs a little bit on the call. They thought wrong, but they thought that he launched his body. During the time that the flags were called, both officials believed that in the moment. That was not true, right?
Yeah, he did too hard.
Did you feel like the refs thought that in the moment?
I mean, yes. And like, I can see in that fast, big hit of a play, somebody feeling that way, but the rules are set up to be able to protect the refs and to change it.
And they were wrong.
Yes. Dead wrong.
I guess here's a question. Could New York overturn that?
Yeah. They have the ability for the sky ref or whatever the hell they call it, to come in and say, no, that's just not correct. And they didn't happen.
But that didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen. Like, that's protecting the ref, is having that in place.
So to your point of how do we fix this or find a solution or hold people accountable, that's what the NFL should publicly come out and say, right?
Yeah.
Is that the Sky ref should have overturned that. And we may hear that.
Too late.
No, for sure. I tweeted it out. I don't tweet much. They're going to send a letter at least on Tuesday. Yay! Whee! You know? But that's all they're going to get.
But the letter's not going to get the light of day. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's more conspiracy if you try to hide the apology than if you just come out and say it and admit the problem. Like, it's still, that's the hard thing too, because, you know, these, like, Brian Callahan's 2-8 as a head coach. He's out there going through it. They're trying to get some wins. Like, they've got a bad system going on right now because they can't win games. And he's already said that the refs have cost them yards in the first place. And now they're costing them a game. So let's ask this question. Let's just flat out do it. Did the refs' questionable calls change the outcome of that game? Did it just flat out change the outcome of the game? So we'll dive into that. We'll get all your opinions in this. Did the refs' questionable calls change the outcome of that Titans-Vikings game? And win or loss, did it change the outcome? We'll get your opinions in this. In a second, I will also throw up a poll on YouTube. Zach, tell us all about our great friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go to get your new health plan. Been part of Farm Bureau Health Plans. Great partner, great company, great reliable resource for health, dental, and vision. 75 plus years they've been in business, over 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee, which is great. That's FBHP.com. You can get a health assessment. It takes about, doesn't take long. Then you get the quote back in 24 to 48 hours. Then you decide if that's the right plan for you. Take a look at it. If you don't have health coverage, Farm Bureau Health Plans can provide that. That's FBHP.com/ATOZ.
And we're also powered by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. And you can use our bonus code if you've never signed up with BetMGM. Use our bonus code ATOZ Sports. You get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that first bet misses. If you already have BetMGM because you signed up with ATOZ Sports back in the past, then great. Look at the odds boost that you might have. You might have some pro football tokens in your account this morning, getting ready for a big Monday night game between the state of Texas tonight. I used an odds boost yesterday to boost Will Levis rushing yards over 16.5 to plus 113, I think it was. Hit that one. Also hit the Sam Darnold rushing number. I also hit Justin Herbert's rushing total last night in that game. So that's a good little market to play in, that quarterback rushing number. But right there with the sportsbook born in Vegas with BetMGM, we just asked the question, Zach, and I'll send you to the chat. Did the referees' bad or questionable officiating calls change the outcome of the game? Because the outcome was a 23-13 Vikings win over the Titans. Did it change the outcome in a win or loss? So, Zach, what are you seeing from the chat?
Let's see here. A lot of comments, a lot of yeses. I'll just go ahead and say that. Scrolling back up, we'll start with Deshaun Washington says yes. Rashid says yes. Absolutely from David. Yup from Nick. 100% from Joshua. Top tier, our first no. Jay says yep. Demario says yes. Most definitely from TJ. Cost 66 says yes. Hello, ladies. Absolutely. Colin, yes. 100% from Jameson. Reginald says yep. Steve Jones, yes. Mark D, yes. Jesse Cook says yes. Yuri makes a comment on how bad the quarterback is, but and we'll talk about we'll have plenty of time to talk about Levis throughout the course of the week and what he did. Darius says yes. American Toff 100% yes. Josh says no. Gene, Eric, Rashid, John, CCR Fishing, all yeses. Big Ten Jeff says the Titans were losing regardless. So there's a no right there. Titans Kyle says no. I think Titans still lose. It's just a different score. Deborah, yes, absolutely. Yes, this is a 90-10 poll. 90% have said yes, that would have changed the outcome of the game if the calls would have gone a different way.
Yeah.
Call, plural, right? Multiple calls in question. and there's a sprinkle of no's. Austin,
So
what do you think?
in the first 3 minutes of the YouTube poll, 82% yes, 18% no. Now 81 yes, 19 no. I rarely do this. I rarely say that the outcome of the game, win or loss, was changed, but I'm a yes on this one. Flat out yes. I think the Titans could have been on their way to win number 3 on the season against the Vikings. They were doing some good stuff, some really good stuff. The offense was moving the football. The defense was getting off the field until the refs kept them back on the field. Because let's just say the honest truth, the facts. All three Vikings touchdown drives, all 3 of them. Every time the Vikings scored a touchdown yesterday in Nissan Stadium, that drive got second life because of a bad penalty call on the Titans defense on a 3rd down stop. Not just on a 2nd down or a 1st down that extended the drive normally. The Titans defense made a play on 3rd down or 4th down. There were 2 on 3rd down. One of them was on 4th down in the end zone. And the Titans got jobbed on all 3 of those. We've talked about the Mike Brown penalty. Let's just go even further because Clete Blakeman flat out lied to us, because here is the poll report from Clete Blakeman about that. And here is the where he says in the first answer, we had 2 officials call it. Essentially, the defensive player launched into the receiver, who is considered a defensive player, and there was helmet contact to the chest and neck area. If you go look at the video, if you go look at the still image, Mike Brown's feet, both feet on the ground, shoulder in the chest, not the neck, and definitely not the helmet. So that was a clean hit with 2 feet on the ground. If you go back and look at the NFL rule book under what launched means, it means 1 or both feet off the ground into a defender. He did not launch. That is a lie, Clete Blakeman. You lied to everybody last night because he didn't launch it. You covered up your own guys.
And this is a question. When does this interview occur?
After the game.
Directly after the game.
After the game.
Yeah. Here's where I push.
He lied.
He had
plenty of time to look at it. Plenty of time.
Did he look at it?
He should have.
No, that needs to be a question. No, fair, but you don't. That's why I would push back on the lie, because the first question out of all of that back and forth, the Q&A, should be, did you look at the play? Have you looked at the play on replay? That should be the first question. And if the answer is yes, Austin, then I think he lied. But if the answer is no, he's answering these questions based on what he and the other refs believed happened. As the great George Costanza says, it's not a lie if you believe it, right? And that is what the scenario that I think happened in that sense. Now, I don't know that because that question is not a part of the Q&A, but if he didn't look at it, that's what he believed. It's not a lie.
It was a first half play.
No, but no,
it's
not a lie. It's not a lie if he's never looked at it.
Zach, he lied. He said that
he
said he launched.
It's not.
Yes, it is. That's a lie.
Do you know if he looked at the play after the game?
I mean, yeah.
But how many times? Actually, 100% that he looked at the replay after the game.
If he didn't, then he closed his eyes.
It's a yes or no question, though.
Okay, Zach. If he didn't, then he closed his eyes in the stadium as they showed it on the video boards probably 7 times.
But that question has got to be answered to really justify it being a lie or not.
He lied.
No, I mean, those are stone cold facts.
Then maybe
what I'm saying is not an opinion.
Regardless, I think.
No, you are forming an opinion on something that you don't know. I just want to clarify this, is because we don't factually know if he saw it. If he did, you're absolutely right. It's a lie.
Then he should be fired, Zach. Like, it's the whole thing. Does the head college football coach know that his assistant is handing players hundreds of dollars of cash under the table? Do you know it's happening? No, your fault. You're fired for lack of institutional control. That is, if the head official.
Jim Harbaugh wasn't fired.
I'm not
he
talking
left
about Jim
on
Harbaugh.
his own accord.
I'm talking about all the others. If the head official does not know that for a fact, Zach, he sucks at his job out loud.
I'm not.
And he should be fired.
No,
he either lied or he sucks so much more than I thought he sucked.
So, Austin, I am not arguing about that one iota. I agree 100% with that statement. But to accuse somebody that is lying without that first question, I think that is the key. That's the most important question.
If you were Clete Blakeman, would you rather me think you suck so bad at your job that you should lose your job, or be called a liar?
I don't think it matters.
No, it doesn't matter, because there's no accountability for that guy. Zero. Because he's going to be doing a game next week, and the week after that, and the week after that, and the week after that. He's going to keep paychecks. No accountability for him to do whatever the hell.
If he was reprimanded, would that be better?
Publicly, yes. Behind the closed doors, I don't care.
And I don't know the full extent of the rule book of what the NFL does. They take crews off of games.
They score them. They get penalized by not calling certain playoff games or not calling the Super Bowl.
Well, grade wise. So here problem solution. I'm with you, Austin. I think that they need to maybe publicly grade every crew from every game, that we can go to NFL.com/refsuck and figure out how bad they actually did.
Because we grade every player. Pro Football Focus has immediately after the game the grades for every player, how good they were, how bad they were. So we should grade the refs, because the referees are becoming way too big of a problem for us to ignore, because the NFL is going to continue to ignore it.
Well, that's a great actually here, PFF, here's free business.
We'll do it.
I want to bring this up.
Here, hold on. Lie. Feet on the ground.
Yes, but you had the picture. Austin, you formed your opinion based on information. And what I'm trying to figure out is, did the ref have that information? If he did, he lied. If he didn't, he didn't.
They have all the information, Zach. They have it.
You don't know that for a fact.
He has this thing in his ear that can call down and tell him anything that he got wrong.
Bring it back up. Read the question.
The top one. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. New York did not say anything to him?
Yeah. They came down that the New York did not come in and try to help him.
Yeah, so you're saying he has a thing in his ear. He's telling us, believe him if you want to, that nobody said anything.
2 hours after the play, the guy saw it. The guy lied.
You're not basing that on fact. You're basing that on opinion.
Okay.
You just have to admit that.
Okay. I disagree, but that's fine.
You can't disagree with that.
No, I do disagree with your opinion on it. I will respect your opinion and move forward, because I want to get back to
disagreeing that you're forming an opinion based on
he lied. He lied about it. There's no way in hell. There is no way in hell that head official did not see a replay of that play after it happened.
I know, but
in the first half, he could have. What do you think they do at halftime? Play cards? Come on! They see things. That's what they do. They go back and look at stuff, just like the players do.
No, they devised their plan to sabotage the Tennessee Titans in quarters 3 and 4. I want to bring this up because
I'm not done. I'm not done with my answer, because yes, the officials' bad calls did change the outcome of that game, because let's just call this factual too, because 4 penalty calls changed 25 points on the scoreboard. I'm sorry, 24 points, because it was a missed extra point. 4 penalty calls changed 24 total points on the scoreboard. 3 Vikings touchdowns, and then the Titans got a touchdown taken off by a subjective call, and they got a field goal, so you swap that. There's 4 points there too. That's 24 total points by 4 penalty calls. The 3 on the Titans defense were all bad calls. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. deserves an apology letter from the NFL as well, because that pass interference on Justin Jefferson was a good defensive play, and the illegal contact downfield was also BS, because it was a really good press man coverage rep.
On the pass interference call, I agree with you. I thought Adam Archuleta described that very well.
Yeah.
Is because he was in too good a position that it looked bad.
And he made a play on the ball like that. Isn't that what we teach defensive backs?
Yeah, his face was looking towards the ball, not away. Right? That's the easiest call in sports.
His shoulders were square to the football, and he batted it down.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get to a couple of comments.
Okay.
Amnesia comes in with a big time slam on the super chat. says refs blown calls lead to all 3 touchdowns made by the Vikings. After the Titans stopped them, Titans held the Vikings to 3 points. Not saying the outcome would have been different, but the Titans played good enough to win that game. So Amnesia coming in hard, saying his answer is no, right? That's how I would unpack that comment. The answer is it would not have changed the outcome, but we cannot turn a blind eye to what you've stated is the number of points. Mm-hmm. And I agree with Amnesia. It's like it's breaking up. It's not you, it's me. Okay. It's not about you, it's me. That's why we're separating. The reason why my answer is no is because I think I have not earned the trust that the Titans can win a game. Can go out and actually win a game against a superior team, which then brings me to another comment. MB says, Zach, the Vikings aren't way better than anyone. They've had a ton of 1-score victories. In the NFL, everyone has a ton of 1-score victories. So that is
everybody
not,
and most have a ton of 1-score losses.
It's who wins those 1-score victories that justifies whether you're good or bad. So I adamantly disagree with you, MB. The Vikings are way better than the Titans. You are what your record says you are. Hashtag Bill Parcells. But I'm with Amnesia. I still think the Titans find a way to lose that game. But damn it, I wanted to see them have that opportunity. And I felt like the refs took that from them.
Yeah. And so you agree with my one word that like we as a viewing public were cheated out of watching a potentially really cool ending. And like you can coin toss it all you want of like, how is it going to end? I don't know. But Will Levis made some really good plays in that second half, including a 98-yard touchdown pass to NWI and a 51-yard touchdown pass to Calvin Ridley. The second one got wiped off because of a petty call.
And I'll also say this to the Titans as a bad team. The refs also cost the Titans an opportunity to build some confidence, some momentum. Will Levis, God, he needs some confidence. He needs that. I see that I can lead this team to a victory against a better team, right? With a better record at home. He needs the fans to cheer for him after the game, right? His confidence has been shattered this football season. And I don't know if he's going to get that many more opportunities in two-tone blue in the future as years to come.
Yeah.
Those are the type of opportunities that I will say the refs rid Will Levis, Brian Callahan, and the Titans of.
And so I see Trevor says, I don't know, the Vikings only earned 7 points. No, not even. Not even. The Vikings earned 3 points. Their field goal drive was the only scoring drive the Vikings had that did not have the extra video game life after you died, because the Titans got off the field twice on 3rd down and once on 4th and goal. And bad penalty calls gave the Vikings a new set of downs. It wasn't, again, the Titans defense made 3 stops that got screwed over by bad calls. And they were bad calls. We know, like the graphic beneath me was made by Zach. If I'm saying it's bad calls, then Zach knows it's bad calls because he's the one who made the graphic. And like, they're bad calls. They're bad calls. And so that is 3 touchdowns. And then they got a touchdown taken off the board themselves.
Will the NFL admit they were bad calls? That's what I think we're seeking.
Publicly? No, they won't publicly. I do expect the Titans to get a memo, letter, fax, email, whatever the hell, pigeon from the NFL saying, yeah, bad call. Does it change anything?
We find out that information at times.
Yeah, through back channeling, like through somebody.
That's how we find out a lot of information.
We found it out by Brian Callahan paying for it. Brian Callahan paid for us to know that 2 weeks ago about the special teams penalties.
Do you think Brian Callahan will get fined for his on-field actions? Because that would really irritate me.
I don't think so. If they shouldn't. If they do, then that's just even.
Yeah, that would really irritate me, because I think that the NFL should and will send a letter admitting that was not by the book, the correct call. And that yielded the reaction of Brian Callahan,
Yeah.
So these are all things to watch on how the NFL is going to treat Brian Callahan, because he's a multi-offender, that also goes into it.
I mean, because he's been fined before for talking about the refs.
Yeah. That's just how it's strike one, strike two, strike three rule,
All right. King Visa says, lock in, like the show. Appreciate the super chat. If you haven't liked it yet on Facebook or YouTube, please do that. That goes a long way for us as we keep on navigating through this season for the Titans. All right, let's revisit something that we had last week, a conversation we had last week where I thought the Titans got robbed by the NFL in New York from a bad review call against the Chargers. And then 7 days later, here we are talking again about the officials costing the Titans even just a chance to win a football game when they could have had a touchdown on the defensive side against the Chargers last week. So we'll get to all that. But first, let me tell you guys about T-Dot, who's doing a great thing out there. T-Dot is trying to find the solution to end littering across our state in Tennessee. There's over 88 million pieces of litter on our roadways, and T-Dot spends $23 million every year of their budget to help clean that up. It's so unnecessary. We could be using those funds for so many different things, like fixing the potholes on 440 or any other interstates or any other overpasses. Now we're just picking up litter. So we can all pitch in to help out. Stop littering yourselves too. When you see litter on the sidewalk or on the street, pick it up, throw it away in the bin. I did that when I was walking the dog a couple weeks ago. I've been telling you guys, pick up litter when you see it. So I had to do it. Found a Powerade bottle, throw it in the bin at the park. Also, you can join local cleanups and earn rewards points. You can save money on tickets to local events if you just go to nobodytrashestennessee.com, join the rewards program, become a trash master, take a quiz, join a local cleanup, take your kids to join a local cleanup, save money on events and tickets. That's a great deal. Nobodytrashestennessee.com is where to go. Again, help T-Dot, nobodytrashestennessee.com.
A to Z Sports powered by BetMGM. We love BetMGM and have for a number of years and will continue to do so. You can get in on the action with bonus code ATOZ Sports, all one word, no spaces. That's ATOZSPORTS. The sportsbook born in Vegas is in Tennessee and has been, so get in on the action. Monday night football. You got college football on the horizon. Excuse me. And BetMGM is where to lock in.
All right, so last week, Zach, I said that the way the review on Justin Herbert's fumble turned incomplete pass that took a Roger McCreary return touchdown off the board, the way that review went down of we had an enhanced angle and went frame by frame to look at the enhanced angle that you guys didn't see, I felt like the NFL went to extra lengths to make sure that the Chargers did not give up a touchdown to the Titans defense. I felt it opened the door.
You said the NFL has it out for the Tennessee Titans.
Technically, I said that it opens the door for those things, and you took it as I think.
Well, you
took it as I had
the theory that you said last week.
I said it opens the door for people to do that, and then you took
said
it as
that they did. They did.
I do think.
Don't skate. You said that.
I said in that situation, I think they wronged the Titans by going frame by frame and hit enhance.
The NFL, that was singularly because they didn't want the Titans to win.
Yes, they did. They wanted Justin Herbert to throw an incomplete pass so the Chargers should win that game, so they could win that game last night, so they can be 7-3, so they can make the playoffs with Jim Harbaugh and do something about it.
Corruption.
Because that's good for the NFL.
Corruption.
Yes.
And the NFL does not want the Titans to
indisputable evidence.
So they do things in their power to prevent them from winning.
Yep.
And I thought that that's bogus. Well, it still is bogus. But the NFL does not make certain calls based on bias that they have based on teams. And I brought up that the Dallas Cowboys would be in the Super Bowl every year.
No. They give good players the benefit of the doubt. They said, Justin Herbert's arm was going forward. He had control. It's Justin Herbert. He's a good quarterback.
Where Josh Dobbs
didn't get that. Josh Dobbs didn't get that 2 years ago in a game that was basically a playoff game. Josh Dobbs did not get that.
It's not the same action. Again, we've talked about that.
That's my point, because I thought, yes, that the Titans got screwed because the NFL gave Justin Herbert the benefit of the doubt and went enhance, frame by frame, enhance. When the whole point of the review is to find indisputable evidence, and you can zoom in and slow everything down and go frame by frame and justify anything you want to say. If you're going to look that,
the NFL is a conspiracy. Is that what you're saying? You believe that the sport that you watch every Sunday and give all of your time to is a fraud?
I think that every professional sports league and in college, I think the better team and the better players get more of the benefit of the doubt. Because Zach, you believe Jarvis Brownlee Jr.'s pass interference in the first quarter, I think it was, that led to the touchdown drive that added to the next play. You believe that Jarvis Brownlee Jr. pass interference was a bad call, right?
It looked as if it was pass interference in real time. So I understand why they threw the flag.
But was it a bad call?
I don't agree with the flag. I don't agree that it was the correct call.
Was that a bad pass interference call on Jarvis Brownlee Jr.? Yes,
I don't agree with the call.
Was it a bad call? Yes or no?
If I disagree with the call, I think it's a bad call.
Thank you for answering the question. Who was the receiver?
Don't talk to me about answering questions. You don't answer questions for
Zach.
anything.
Who was the receiver? Who was the receiver?
Justin Jefferson.
Bingo! Justin Jefferson gets that call. Nick Westbrook-Akine, great defensive play. Great defensive play. Justin Jefferson gets that call.
So it's on the franchises to draft better players.
No, it is. That is.
So does it go back to the franchise? If the Tennessee Titans drafted Jaden Daniels and he was the hottest thing since sliced bread, that's the point. Is that you are saying it's conspired because they are against the Tennessee Titans. Your concept of star players, that has been peppered all over sports. But you said last week, because I want to define this, is it's the Tennessee Titans singularly. That's what I'm arguing.
In Justin Herbert, in the case of Justin Herbert versus Tennessee Titans, the NFL sides with Justin Herbert. Yes.
In the case of think that call would have been made if it was Snead? If Snead had played, who was a high profile player, do you think that? So it's more because Brownlee is not a household name.
Snead is more likely to not have the PI called than Jarvis Brownlee Jr., but Justin Jefferson still wins out.
But is that just for the Titans? That's what you said last week. That the NFL has it out for the Titans. That's where I disagree. I think the NFL does not have. They don't put lipstick on and slash the Titans' name out every single week. That's what you said.
I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I did not.
Last week you did.
No, stop. I said Justin Herbert gets the call over the Titans. Justin Herbert is more important to the NFL than the Tennessee Titans. That's true.
That was not your argument.
That was the point I was making. Whether you wanted to listen to it or not.
Go watch Monday's show. That's not what you
I don't have time to do that. You know that. You don't have time
to do it because you're wrong. You need to know what you argued.
No, yes, the Tennessee Titans do not get the benefit of the doubt when they're going up against Justin Herbert, Justin Jefferson, or the next CJ Stroud.
Your tone and argument has changed over the week.
Okay.
Go listen to the show.
That's fine. You can hear it the way you want to hear it. Just like
No, I'm telling you to go listen to it because you will then your argument now is different than what your last Monday's was. It's the facts.
Okay. That's how you feel about it. Another super chat that has come in. TLG says the refs in the NFL are not infallible. Something shady was up with those calls. You can't tell me different. Maybe money, maybe political, who knows? But those calls weren't objective. And I think Justin Jefferson gets the call on Jarvis Brownlee Jr. because Jarvis Brownlee Jr. made a really good play. Like Archuleta said, he was in too good of a position and made a great play in the football like he's supposed to do. And Justin Jefferson got beat, and Justin Jefferson got the PI call.
So here's what I will say. You mentioned earlier in the show that you felt like the refs got petty. And I agree with you. I definitely agree with you there. The refs continuously of how the game went because of the Brian Callahan blow up, because of Bill Callahan talking, so they started You can call hold on every play. We all know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
My overall point is that they did not do that because it was the Tennessee Titans. They did it because of the circumstance.
I agree.
If it would have, you replaced the Titans with the Bengals or the Titans with the Jags or the Titans with anybody, if it gets out of hand and coaches and players attack and dog cuss and do all the things, justifiably so, at the refs are going to do that. So that is my point that you were not stating last week.
That's because
you
last
said it was
week
a
was not this
Titans
situation.
issue. Is a Titans issue, is a conspiracy against the Titans versus what we're talking about this week, which is the refs within the confines of the game started to get worse and worse and worse against a singular team.
It's a conspiracy against the lesser player or the lesser team in situations.
I know that's just not what you argued last Monday.
It is.
No,
I swear to you, it is.
We will then pull a clip because that is factually wrong.
Okay. My opinion, Zach, is that because I also used, did Michael Jordan get calls? Yes or no? I used that as the example later in the show last week.
Last week, you said it was because they were the Tennessee Titans.
Yes, versus Justin Herbert. That's the situation. Like Justin Jefferson wins over Jarvis Brownlee Jr. I don't think
that was not your point.
Zach,
it was the league versus the Titans. It wasn't star player.
All right. I agree with you that it wasn't the refs versus the Titans. It got personal. It got refs versus the Callahans. It was refs versus Brian Callahan.
Yes,
refs versus Bill Callahan.
happens.
I agree. It was petty.
But that's and all I'm stating was that was not the same energy last week. So if you want to clarify,
it's not the same situation, Zach.
No,
it's not the same situation.
Your argument was that the refs did it because it was the Tennessee Titans, not
versus
because of Justin Herbert.
Yes, yes, it was.
No, what I'm saying is in any singular situation, the refs, everybody has bias, right? If you piss me off, we're probably not going to go to lunch, in 3 hours or whatever, right? Like that is human nature. And I think that's what you saw in the game based on what you stated is that the refs got ticked off by the Titans coaching staff, by how they were acting, how they were treating. And I think publicly, I think the refs look around and say the perception, this is a nationally televised game, like all of them are. The fans are going crazy. They're booing the refs, right? They're not booing anybody else. Then they started to take it out on the team. But the team is indifferent to what the league wants. That's my point.
Okay. All right. TLG says, Zach, the NFL is incapable of this level of sketchiness. Shady people with power like to sway things to their benefit, especially if tax-free money can be made. Narratives matter to the NFL. So we're not going to have to, look, we just kind of went over all that. Amnesia comes back and says, Zach, if they can get petty over multiple blown calls and swing a game outcome, what stops them from doing it without reason? Look,
but I think we can point to a reason on why those calls occurred, right? That's what we're, I think, in mutual agreement on, is that the refs got ticked off because the Titans couldn't stop yelling at them, right? Or a certain team couldn't stop jawing at them. And then they started calling it closer. We all also agree that the refs can call a flag every single play, right? If they want to, they could find something wrong on every play. What I thought the refs did a very poor job is let the game play out as it should, right? We need to prop the game and the sport up and not the refs, right?
But the refs are the ones that are doing this.
Impeding that situation.
We have talked here for an hour and 4 minutes almost, and have not talked about Will Levis making some really good plays. We haven't even talked about how bad Nicholas Petit-Frere has been. We haven't talked about so many different things of good plays, bad plays, who to blame, who to prop up. Jack Gibbons had got his leg broken in half and is out for the year, and what that means for the defense and what it means for his career. We're talking about the refs. We've spent the entire Monday morning over an hour talking about the damn refs
because there were too many egregious calls.
Yes,
right?
Yes, and they were so blatant, blatantly obvious to bail out the Vikings to give them second life on all 3 touchdown drives when the Titans got to stop. It's as black and white as their damn stripes are.
I thought the other thing when the Ridley touchdown pass that was called back, it's kind of like, and I think this is how Titans fans feel. I mean, I watch every Titans game and have since they were created. It's kind of like the Titans don't get a lot of those plays, and now you're going to take that away. And again, I don't think it's a Titans thing. I think it's like the Titans offense don't. Besides 2020, you don't get a lot of those huge deep bombs, right? Maybe now they're few and far between because of the offense, but I think that also hurts watching it in real time, is that you're going to call that back because of a subjective lineup and the line of scrimmage call on a right tackle, who the right tackle also is the worst position on the team, right? I mean, you talk about like diagnosing the problems of the team. The right tackle.
Yeah. It's costing them the games.
It's the most frustrating, I think, part of the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's
Singular.
so bad. It's so bad. Like, I made this very clear. At the end of the halftime show, I was like, I think Easton on my shoulders would do a better job at fighting at right tackle than Nicholas Petit-Frere. That guy is worthless. He is worthless. He's a waste of space. They've tried to fire him like 4 times this season, and other guys keep sucking or getting hurt. And Isaiah Prince wasn't terrible. He just kept getting called for illegal formations because of referees being petty, which meant the Titans would pull Isaiah Prince out to be like, hey, we got to talk about this. You got to scoot the hell up a little bit or we're going to keep getting this called. And when they pulled him out to talk to him about that, they put NPF's ass back in to get beat.
I think NPF is just a bad football player.
He's a terrible football
I think
player.
if he goes somewhere else, he's going to be the same guy.
He needs to go fully pro in whatever fantasy football stuff he's doing because he's not very good at this.
Yeah, like you see other
there.
players that play bad for a team and then go find a new place and like, oh, wow, he actually had some meat on the bone. NPF has no meat.
Soft. He's soft. So soft. And they can't get anything out of it. All right, Zach, let's wrap up this show with the age game. You were what, 0 for 3 or is 0 for 4?
I'm 0 for 3. This could be 0 for 4.
This would be 4. Okay, so the age game here, we're flipping it over to Zach because I went 0 for a long time before I got one. The age game coming up, but first, shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon. Say hey to Payne Bone for us while you're there at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. So Zach, it's the age game time. And I try to, I hope you have the chat hidden. I try to find, something that's relevant to the weekend or the situation. And so I went a little extra Kevin Bacon. So it is the Titans, the Vols, Georgia game that I will start from. So I was like, who could I find that would fit this? So Vince Dooley is a legendary Georgia football coach. He has since passed away, but he is the father of former Tennessee Vols head coach Derek Dooley. How old is former Vols head coach Derek Dooley?
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Vince.
No, he passed away. How old is Derek Dooley?
How old is Derek Dooley? So Derek Dooley was fairly young when he coached Tennessee. That was 2 head coaches ago, right? Because you had Jeremy Pruitt and now Josh Heupel. So Jeremy Pruitt was there for around, I would only say 3 years. I mean, he didn't last long. Heupel has been there for about 3 years. That was 6. At the end of his tenure, he was probably in his late 40s, early 50s. So I think he's now in his mid to late 50s. $56.
You forgot Butch Jones.
Damn, he was before. So he's older than 56. I mean, my answer, I can't change my answer. You gave me a hint.
You're sticking with 56?
I don't want to now, but that is what it is. So I have to lock in. I got to play the game fair.
You're locking in with 56. John, 55. Nope. Jake, 53. Nope. Nick, 55. Nope. Cost, 64. Nope. LC Oliver, 56 is correct.
Oh, woo! Oh, baby! They call me the Master Man. Whoa, man. You tried to get me to move off of it. I saw a little sneak right there, but I stay true blue, baby. True blue. Oh, man, that's unbelievable. This is what a high I'm on right now. Wow, man, this feels great. What did you say? 0-4? No, my friend. This is a W. Woo! Baby, bang! Mike Bring for 3. Bang! Man, context clues led me right to it.
So LC Oliver was first, barely beat out Titans Kyle. Titans Kyle almost got his 5th, but LC Oliver on YouTube was correct. So Zach, I'll let you add yourself and LC to the graphic. And then Jake Hughes says Austin taking that sip of water, let him know. And then Hello Lady says Zach finally got something right today.
Look, and there's a super chat comment we'll go back to.
Yeah.
But wow. It made sense. I missed Butch Jones, but maybe that helped me in a weird way.
I think it did help you in a weird way. Because Dooley was very young when he was the head coach at Tennessee. He was the head coach at Tennessee from 2010 to 2012, which is 14 years ago. He was like 42-ish.
What who won?
LC Oliver.
LC Oliver.
Yep. Titans Kyle says in his live chat, in Kyle's live chat, he was ahead of LC, but it ain't Kyle's live chat that we go by. It's the live chat that I see. So LC was what I saw.
I mean, so how many times, maybe I need to update this. You've won it once. How many times have Easton and Sam won it?
Each once.
Oh, so now I'm gunning for top dog. I'm trying
so now like, what do we do here? Like, do we full pivot off of the age game and do something else?
I mean, we can brainstorm. I'm going to bathe in my victory before we change the game.
We can give you a chance.
I'm 1-3.
We can give you a chance to go 2 in a row before we pivot. How about that? That buys us another week to brainstorm.
That's an all-time record. Now,
no, it's not an all-time record because Sam and Easton were like 1-0.
They got it the first time.
I know Easton did. Sam might have gotten his second guess, but it was definitely faster than your 4.
But then they haven't gotten it since. Well,
they haven't had to because I've had to play it.
You lose sight of that. Well,
Eric says he already knows the game he wants us to play. Well, what you gotta let us know.
Say bad sales job, and we're not doing that.
No, we're not doing bad sales job. That's just not good for morale.
Well, granted, the whole concept of this game, and why I came up with it is that we play this game. I play it with my friends and my wife. Like Brad Pitt will show up he's like, how old is he? Margot Robbie. God, I wonder how old they are. George Clooney, right? And so this is.
And I always try to think of like how old was somebody when they acted or played this character,
Yeah, that's a whole nother one. It's like, Leonardo DiCaprio when the Titanic came out,
Mm-hmm.
So we have a new leaderboard. Let's see if I can upload that. 56. I mean, it seemed right. It felt good. Felt good when it left.
And he's not even close to birthday. His birthday is in June. So
we got LC Oliver, bottom right. Congratulations there. Top dog. So now all of our hosts have done this. Anthony Malley.
Wait, LC Oliver's a 2-time winner. I just saw he's over there in the bottom left.
Oh, yeah, I see that. So I will change that for next time and put you 2-time. And then we'll brainstorm to see if we can come up with a new game.
Yeah, because you will have a chance to go back-to-back correct next week, and then we have to figure out something there too. Okay, super chat here. TLG says Zach continues to ignore who those calls are made on most. Teams who get less eyeballs if they progress, like Titans, are judged more harshly than those who fit the marketing objectives of the NFL.
Okay, so if you want to talk about the full spectrum of it, is that then it's cyclical, right? Because it goes in a cycle. If you draft good players and draft superstars, then you'll get that. So if that is the game that everyone plays, isn't it equal opportunity, right? You have the Jags are just as fair to go draft somebody that makes plays.
I understand the logic.
The Vikings did not have the best wide receiver in the league since they had Randy Moss, right?
I understand the logic that you're putting together. I just say no, because you said equal opportunity, which means equal opportunity on the play that is being. No, I'm talking about on the officiating. just like equal opportunity, yes, but on the play on the field in real time, in real life, right now, not who drafted who, when, and how good they are or whatever. So
but the Titans have an opportunity to go draft better players. They've just done a bad job of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's call a spade now. And this is, I know Titans fans are going to get upset at this, but Jake Locker and Vince Young and Marcus Mariota and Caleb Farley and Corey Davis. I mean, the list.
Isaiah Wilson.
Isaiah Wilson, which is the number one. You know, like
and like
Traylon Burks. I mean, in the last 20 years,
I think your reach. This is a reach of an argument because we're in the context of this conversation, but this is not right. Like officials are not supposed to call plays.
I'm separating the two. I'm saying let's look at if it takes good players. Like obviously, you know, the NBA and other sports are different, so I don't want to get that involved. But my point is the NFL is not doing this singularly to the Tennessee Titans. They don't hate the Tennessee Titans and rig the game so they lose. That's my point. I don't believe that.
I don't either.
That's not what you portrayed last week.
I just don't think you heard. You heard what you want to hear.
You said what you said.
No, I said in that we were talking about that situation. And in the situation of Justin Herbert versus the Titans, Justin Herbert wins that. In the situation of Justin Jefferson versus Jarvis Brownlee Jr., Justin Jefferson wins that.
You insinuated it was a team thing, not a player thing last week. The Chargers,
last week
who had won more games. No, this is what you said. That had won more games than the Titans, and the Titans' season was basically over because they were a 2-win team. They preferred the Chargers to win over the Titans. You said that. Do you?
Yeah, like they're reviewing a play in New York. Like that is very even more the league having like they're enhancing frame by frame. Ooh, I think his thumbs got pressure on the football. Control, incomplete pass. Like that's not the intent of why you review things.
I think that's a conspiracy theory.
No, that's what they said. They enhanced the angle and went frame by frame to find that he had control when his arm was moving forward to justify a forward pass instead of not finding indisputable evidence that he was moving forward with the football. Like,
yeah, again, we agreed that the call was wrong. I thought it was a fumble, right? You thought it was a fumble. I think most people thought it was a fumble. What I'm saying is that I don't believe that they overturned that call because they wanted the Chargers to win the football game. The league.
The league did it because it was in New York reviewing it. That is the league. Okay, we can close the chapter on this. Brian Callahan will talk to the media. There's a little bit of a different schedule, it looks like. So I'm going to go back and find exactly what that is because I don't know why it's different, but it's different. Usually the head coach talks at 11:30. Now he's going to talk today at 12:45. So we'll see what Brian Callahan has to say on that. But that is it for us here on this Monday morning. Make sure you hit that like button. Like the show. If you haven't liked it yet, please do it on Facebook and YouTube. Sam, I think might have a Titans at 2. You might have to push that because of the scheduling today of the press conferences, but also Buck Rising live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime at 7. A to Z Sports.com/Titans for all of our content. We'll check you guys later on. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.